Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson. Find out what it takes to join Beach Safety's lifeguard training mentoring program. And if you're looking for volunteer hours, your help is needed for the 18th annual St. Johns River Cleanup. And have you ever wondered who's responsible for making sure the roads serve both residents and visitors, especially during high demand times such as special events? Well, Community Information Director Dave Byron will sit down with Volusia County Traffic Engineer John Cheney. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. When a tornado threatens, seconds count. That's the message that emergency management officials sent to school administrators, teachers, and students during a recent statewide tornado drill. 10 schools in Volusia County participated in a drill organized by Volusia County Emergency Management and Volusia County Schools. The drill alert was broadcast on NOAA weather radios and was the 12th year for the exercise. Jim Judge, director of the county's Emergency Management Division, said practicing a plan can be a lifesaver should a tornado affect the area.
Make sure that you have a family plan. Make sure you have a preparedness kit. And make sure that you're taking all of those precautions necessary to protect, again, your home, your family, your business. And so we always need to be mindful of that severe weather and being prepared to take action should severe weather threaten our area.
The tornado drill was part of Severe Weather Awareness Week in Florida. The week's activities also included a poster contest in which a student from Volusia County took the prize for the region. The poster by Volusia Sadek from Cypress Creek Elementary School in Port Orange was one of 7 winners across the state chosen from more than 700 entries. Veronia was honored at the school last week.
Veronia here in Port Orange did a fantastic poster. She did a drawing that showed some of the hazards that we face in the state of Florida and then illustrated some of the things that you should have in your personal kit and really hit some of the highlights on there. She had a phone charger on there. She had canned goods on there. She had things to help pass the time. I saw a Rubik's Cube on there. You know, those are very important things that people may overlook. You know, we talk about flashlights and batteries, but everybody these days has a smartphone. You need to make sure you got some kind of charger, both one for your wall outlet, but if you lose power, you probably want to have one for your car as well in case you don't have power in your home.
To learn more about staying safe during severe weather and how to get a plan, you can visit volusia.org/emergency and click on the Before a Disaster tab. Volusia County's Beach Safety Division is launching a lifeguard trainee mentoring program for 16-year-olds who want to prepare for jobs as tower guards. The trainee is a paid position that will shadow and assist seasoned tower guards, but will not assist in water rescues. Beach Safety Director Mark Swanson said trainees will be in a good position to apply for lifeguard positions once they turn 17.
The purpose of the program is because last year we lost a lot of opportunity. We lost a lot of potentially good lifeguards because they weren't 17 years old. Well, by bringing them in now, you keep them from going and getting jobs elsewhere because you're bringing them in, you're mentoring, it's a paid position. So by the time they turn 17 years old, they'll have the opportunity to become a lifeguard here on Volusia County beaches.
Swim tryouts for 16-year-olds will be Saturday, March 8th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the DeLand YMCA and 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Ormond Beach YMCA. Tryouts will also be Saturday, March 15th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Ormond Beach YMCA.
The requirements that they have to do is they have to come out and they have to swim 500 meters in less than 10 minutes, swim 50 yards in less than 30 seconds, and they have to run a half a mile in 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Applicants must be at least 16 by March 24th. Candidates considered for hiring will undergo a background check, physical, and a drug screening. Those who meet the swim requirements must pass a stringent selection process, attend an orientation and training class, and complete a 40-hour first responder CPR class. Starting pay is $8.51 an hour. A $500 bonus will be given to new hires who work specified hours and days. For more information, you can visit volusia.org/beach, or you can call Beach Safety Ocean Rescue at 386-239-6414. Saturday, April 12th is a good day to clear your environmental conscience and experience Volusia's scenic beauty. Volunteers are needed for the 18th annual St. Johns River Cleanup, which begins at 8 a.m. Boaters, scouts, civic organizations, environmental groups, businesses, and individual volunteers are encouraged to help clean the St. Johns River by removing trash and debris. Participants who pre-register will receive a free t-shirt and a reusable shopping bag. Tom Carey of Volusia County Environmental Management said the annual cleanup day is good for the environment, and it's a great way to enjoy the outdoors with some quality volunteer work.
You always want to keep the river clean, not only for humans to enjoy, but for the animals and even the plants to thrive and enjoy and benefit the river's ecosystem. Whenever you have trash in the river, it can inhibit the natural process of the river, the natural flow, and of course the animals that live there. So it's always a good idea to put anything that's not natural, not supposed to be in the river, pull it out, recycle it, take it to the dump.
Participants are encouraged to bring water and wear sunglasses, a hat, sunscreen, work gloves, and comfortable clothing. They also may bring trash grabbers and canoes, kayaks, or boats. There are 8 cleanup sites, including DeLeon Springs Park, Lemon Bluff Boat Ramp, and Edstone Park. For a complete list or for more information, you can call 386-736-5927, extension 12424, or you can visit volusia.org/cleanup.
The County Council is committed to building trails because they improve your quality of life. Trails offer exercise, recreation, access to nature, and alternative transportation routes. They also bring families and friends together to enjoy the outdoors. People of all ages and abilities can enjoy our trails in Volusia County. Whether you're a walker, jogger, inline skater, or bicyclist, we have a trail for you. To learn more about Volusia County's trails, visit volusia.org/trails.
Time now to join correspondent Michelle Coates on the Business Beat for this story.
We often think of the library as a literacy tool, but it's also an economic development tool. I'm Michelle Coates with the Business Beat, and we're here at Daytona Beach Regional Library at City Island to learn more.
Public libraries are natural partners in local economic development efforts. They often are centrally located and provide a variety of resources designed to foster human growth and development, promote early literacy and school readiness, and develop workforce capacity. Larger public library systems like Volusia County offer business-related databases and business reference materials, career development tools, and access to trained reference librarians. In fact, that's the mission of the Volusia County Library System. We spoke to Ann Powers, Volusia County Library IT Manager and Systems Librarian, about the resources our libraries offer to our business community.
We have lots of databases. I'd say we have about 120. We have about 18 to 20 devoted to business. Our Small Business Resource Center kind of does from A to Z on how to start a business, how to keep it going, and how to further yourself with marketing and even down to doing your accounting and taxes. Statistics that will give you the income area, the income for your area, the education level of the people in the area that you're planning on doing a business. So it will help you decide where in Volusia County you might want to put your office or your business.
Since libraries depend on a tax base supported in part by business, it makes sense that there's a vested interest in the support of that tax base. A major component of Volusia County Library's business support is through its e-resources, which are available to anyone with a free library card.
This is our main website, volusialibrary.org. Across the top on our menu, you will see e-resources. When you go there, this is where you can type a search if you knew of a specific term that you were looking for, such as legal. From a business perspective, you could do, all sorts of contracts would be there and available to you.
Nearly every professional in Volusia County can find a valuable business resource at their local library. From convenient ebooks and professional magazine downloads such as Forbes and Bloomberg Business Week.
Those can be downloaded directly to a tablet or a computer, and you can read it just like you were reading the magazine.
To every manner of legal forms and business operations information, to demographics of all types, to a collection of more than 250 journals focused on all aspects of communications, advertising, marketing, and public relations. And for those looking to develop international relationships, there's a resource for that too.
Mango Languages is an interesting database because you can do a basic language course, which will teach you how to travel and get around and order food in a restaurant. You can do a more advanced course, which will actually teach you how to speak the language. Or you can simply use the translator.
Public libraries have incredible reach geographically and virtually. Nationally, more than 9,000 libraries provide services in more than 16,000 facilities and through the internet. 13 branch libraries serve Volusia County, all of which have free Wi-Fi and public access computers.
At any given point, our wireless LAN controller, we have 175 to 200 people on.
Visit the Volusia County Public Library website at volusialibrary.org for information about the collection, databases, downloadable media, e-resources, online catalog, upcoming programs, and more.
I hope you've learned about a few valuable business resources available at your local Volusia County Library. I'm Michelle Coates with the Business Beat.
And once again, you can find out more by visiting volusialibrary.org. Time now to join urban and residential horticulturalist Joe Sewards of the University of Florida Volusia County Extension for his message concerning the right plant for the right place.
Hi, I'm Joe Sewards. I'm the University of Florida Extension horticulture agent for Volusia County, and this is Horticulture Today. And today I'd like to talk about one of my favorite subjects, is Florida-friendly landscaping. And specifically, I'd like to talk about right plant, right place, which is the cornerstone of the Florida-friendly landscape. And a very good example of right plant, right place is mondo grass. And here at Sugar Mill Gardens, where it's kind of shady, this is an excellent example of an alternative to turf grass, where turf grass won't grow. As most of us know, in Florida, turf grass doesn't do very well in the shade, so we're often looking for ground covers to serve as an alternative. And one of the better ones, in my opinion, is mondo grass. Another plant I'd like to talk about, and another point of Florida-friendly landscaping, is understanding how big plants are going to get. And this is a really good example of that. This plant behind me is called king sago. It is related to the sagos that are commonly available in garden stores in the area, but this is a different species. As you can see, it gets quite large. You have to understand how big that plant is going to get and plant it in a spot where it's going to have at least a chance to attain its mature size. Sugar Mill Gardens is a good place to come see how plants grow in a natural setting and how big they can get. When I teach classes on Florida-friendly landscaping, one of the things that I try to tell people is putting plants in a place where they're going to do well is key. So understanding what plants need to grow is really important. As you can see by the size of these oak trees, they do very, very well. They need a lot of space. Another common issue in home landscapes is hedges. And people will often buy plants, plant them as a hedge with the idea that they're going to keep them pruned at a certain height. A better way of thinking about that is to buy a plant that's going to get the height you want it and not have to worry about pruning, or at least not very much pruning over the life of that plant. It'll be less stressed, it'll be a healthier plant. You'll save money, time, and effort trying to maintain that plant. This one I'm standing in front of right here is an excellent example, sweet viburnum. People will often plant this as a hedge plant and try to prune it at 4 or 5 feet. And as you can see, If left alone, sweet viburnum can get quite a bit larger than 4 or 5 feet. These specimens I'm standing underneath right now are approaching 25 feet. They will actually make beautiful small shade trees, patio trees. They don't have any fruit that's going to make a mess. So remember, it's all about right plant, right place. If you put the right plant in the right place, you've won 90% of the Florida-friendly landscaping battle. For Horticulture Today, I'm Joe Sewards.
Well, let's head into the studio to join our very own Community Information Director, Dave Byron, with his guest, Volusia County Traffic Engineer John Cheney, for a chat about managing traffic during major events.
Well, thank you, Amber, and hi, everyone. Each year, in excess of 500,000 people visit our area to attend races and other Speed Weeks activities at Daytona International Speedway. For those of us who live here, we know only too well how the special events can pose a traffic challenge, but probably no one understands this challenge better than our studio guest today. We have with us John Cheney. He's the county's traffic engineer, and we're going to find out what goes into managing the traffic that comes with Speed Weeks and Bike Week. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dave.
Hey, we're taping this a couple days after the Daytona 500, and before we get into this, I got to ask you about the Daytona 500 because we had a very unusual situation. We had a 6-hour rain delay, and as I understand it, a lot of people left and a lot of people came back. So you had your hands full, I guess, with that event.
Oh, we sure did. It was very interesting just because of the unusual situation about the 6-hour rain delay and everything.
And of course, the rain in and of itself with the bad weather brings, you know, I guess a little bit of looking over your shoulder because of the weather aspect of this.
Exactly.
John, for those folks that, you know, don't understand what you do as the county traffic engineer and what your responsibilities are, tell us what your responsibilities are and what you guys do.
Okay. We have about 133 signals countywide, and within those signals we have computerized signal systems that we oversee mainly in the cities. We have about 160 school zone flashers and about 60 flashers that we maintain countywide. And not only do we maintain the signals, but we do a lot of the traffic studies whether it's speed related or requests for stop signs. So we do a lot of work to justify and basically make things operate as efficiently as we can.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, you know, in listening to what you say, pretty much thinking that with the exception, I guess, of some of the major cities, Daytona Beach, for example, I mean, you guys are the show when it comes to traffic lights and that sort of thing, right?
That's correct. We maintain all these city signals countywide except for the city of Daytona Beach.
And obviously you have to tie in your systems, I would think, with the city of Daytona Beach systems, and also, you know, we see those traffic cameras that you see on the weather report or the traffic report every morning from DOT. So I presume you guys are all linked together.
We are. We are coordinated both with the Florida Department of Transportation with their ITS system statewide so that we can look at any camera within the Metro Orlando area or down to Miami. So if a hurricane was coming, we could, from a situational awareness thing, we can monitor how the traffic's coming this way. We also coordinate with the city's camera systems. They have a traffic management center, we have a traffic management center. Now that we have consolidated emergency communications, we are using the radio frequency so we hear exactly everything that they're talking about and what they're doing from a communication standpoint so we can better coordinate.
So do you have a big room with a bunch of monitors on it that you got people looking at?
Well, I wouldn't call it big, but we do
you
have a room. We have a room. Actually, we have 2 traffic management centers where we have basically a video wall that we see all the different cameras, whether it's the state or our own county network or the city of Daytona Beaches. And then we have computer screens that show us our signal systems and what's going on with the actual traffic controllers that we would operate and maintain.
So those folks that are sitting there looking at all that equipment, looking at those monitors and so forth, what sort of ability do they have? I mean, can they make a red light turn green or make it speed up or slow down? Or
Actually, yes, we can. With a couple clicks of the button, we can go ahead and change the signal timings based on what we're looking at with the camera. So if all of a sudden the race lets out or during the rainstorm this past weekend, when traffic starts leaving earlier than what we anticipated, what we would do is drill down in our signal system to where a signalized intersection was and said, let's give some more green time to everyone flushing out.
John, I know myself, I'm over in Daytona Beach all the time driving on ISB, you know, I try to stay away from the track on the race days. But, you know, it seems like if you get into the flow of things, you can hit a bunch of green lights. But if you hit one red light, it seems like you're going to hit a bunch of them. Is that just me, or is that the way it is?
It's the way it is. We try and what we call signal progression. We try and design the system so that once you get in the flow, you can go as far as you can, but there are periodic breaks that we do design into the system to stop traffic. And what we want is, we want the cars, what we saw as I guess bunched together or in platoons, because it's more efficient that way.
But obviously your guys are there looking, and you can make some adjustments if you have to, I guess.
We can. What you have to remember, at certain times, especially during the races, there's just so many cars.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is work in cooperation with the law enforcement agencies. We have the situational awareness where we're looking from quite a distance up and saying, okay, overall, this is how the situation, the corridor is flowing. Once we reach a point where there's just so many cars in the network and on the road, we basically turn it over to the local law enforcement agencies and say, you go ahead and operate the system with the man in the field.
So during the Daytona 500, where you had this unique situation this year, John, where you had that 6-hour break in the weather, what kind of challenge does that throw at you? Never been through that before, I bet.
Never been through that. We had the plan, which is basically everyone comes in, race is over, everyone leaves. This time is very interesting. It looked like 40% of the people just left and went back home. Another 40% left the speedway area and went out, and then when the race resumed, came back, and then about 20% of the people stayed. So we had to adjust on the fly, basically, during that initial rainstorm where people were leaving, because no one had set up any of the barricades, none of the outflow patterns had been set up. And so we really used the ability of the signal system to adjust the signal timings at that point. And then once the race resumed, we went back to, okay, this is what we had planned for.
So in other words, you had a plan, but you had a plan B and a plan C and a plan D.
Correct.
You know, John, in recent years, there's been quite a bit of effort and focus on school safety. You know, we had some issues around some of our schools, particularly down in Orange City and some other areas, and you guys were playing a role in that as well. So obviously keeping the kids safe and keeping the traffic going slow during the morning and afternoon when schools are getting in and getting out. What sort of planning, or what sort of activities do you look at around schools to try to make sure that things are safe?
We work closely with the Sheriff's Office School Crossing Guard Subcommittee, and usually those supervisors, the crossing guard supervisors, are our eyes and ears of what's going on out in the field. If there's a problem, they bring it to our attention. In the case of Orange City, the law enforcement came to us as part of the, I guess, West Volusia Community Traffic Safety Team, and got the Sheriff's Office to form a special task force to review every crash, to physically look at, okay, what's going on the ground. And we worked also in partnership with the Florida Department of Transportation to say, okay, what things do we need to look at to do better for the safety of the children crossing the street, walking to the street. We added additional signs, sidewalks. The DOT put a special school zone, reduced school zone on US 1792.
Slowed that traffic down a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. John, you mentioned looking at data, and you touched on this earlier. One of the things that you do from a long-range planning point of view is analyze traffic data. You look at crash statistics and fatalities and that sort of thing, and I guess that helps you spot any safety issues that are out there. Tell us what sort of data that you gather and what you do with that data.
A lot of the data we collect is traffic count data. We also look at, we have access to the statewide crash data management system, so that we're looking for trends, you know, increases in traffic, increases in crashes. I guess the next steps, and I guess in the safety, the analytical world, is doing what ifs. You know, what if, this left turn was here, would it reduce the number of crashes? And so we're now looking for the needle in the haystacks of, where are all the crashes occurring, where there's a high number of left turns, and then go back and then using our traffic studies group say, okay, let's collect more data with specific to that intersection to see is a left turn lane warranted.
Right. There's some science that goes into how all of this comes together, is there not?
Yes, we use a lot of national standards.
Right.
When we're doing our studies, we also have to use Florida statutes. Probably the hardest thing for me to do is to justify reducing or increasing a speed limit.
Right.
You would think that the county council could just bless something like that. There's actually a Florida statute that basically says you have to do an engineering study to justify why you are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only do you have to do the study, you have to do it according to this methodology as prescribed in the Florida statutes. And so when we get a lot of requests from our residents, one of the things is can we reduce the speed limit from 35 or 30 miles per hour, like you mentioned, to 20 or 25 because there's children playing in the streets.
Right.
And we're concerned about their safety. And for us, we have to follow those standards to justify what we're doing.
Right. Hey, John, thanks for being with us today. Interesting challenge for Volusia County. Sounds like all in all things went pretty well for the Daytona 500 despite the 6 hours of rain. Now you can rest easy for a couple of days, and then you got bike week coming
Exactly.
up. Our guest today, John Cheney, he's the county's traffic engineer. And with that, Amber, we'll go back to you.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council meeting calendar there too. You can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. It's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio program. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a wonderful evening.